Good evening to each one of you. So let us begin the session now. Okay? Yes, we are starting the session now. So we'll today take up, my friend, the chapter 16 basically, right? This is IT Act we'll understand, then the digital forensic and the cyber laws. So these are the areas which we will be now touching upon. So pretty new issues are there. We'll understand all these new issues one by one. Okay. So yes, I'm just opening my slides and we'll work on that. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah. So I just share my slide. Just please confirm any of you. IT Act Digital Forensic Cyber Law is visible over here. Just anybody please confirm me.
Sir, visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear friend. Thank you. So we'll take up now this important act. So just a minute. What is there? Allow. Okay. So now we'll take up this first point, right? So that is this is the Digit IT Act, Digital Forensic and Cyber Laws. Many things will be understanding in this session because IT Act plays a very critical role in the with respect to the now entirely how the frauds need to be taken care. This is something very critical thing. The IT Act does it, right? So let's go first of all. So IT Act, one is that the 2000 IT Act, it provides the legal recognition, right? So it provides the recognition to the transaction done via electronic exchange and electronic exchange of data and the electronic means of the communication, right? So just 1 minute. Some I think control they are changing it. Okay, fine. So IT Act provides legal recognition to the transaction done to the electronic exchange of data and other electronic means of communication or electronic commerce transaction. So the IT Act, when it came, it was a very revolutionary change in the, you can say, the business way of transactions. Number one, it give a recognition to the electronic exchange of a data, right? That means suppose I need to send the invoice by electronically, right? By using digital signature. Now it is valid basically, right? So even emails if I send, they are valid now, right? Otherwise, earlier these electronic exchange of a data were not valid. Similarly, if you place the order electronically, e-commerce transaction, if you sell the data, the goods electronically, everything is now been recognized basically. Even contract I execute electronically, they are digitally signed basically. So there is no problem in that case. So this is the major step which has come in the industry once the this now electronic this IT Act has come into the picture basically, right? So that is something very critical, and that has a major impact on the fraud and forensic audit also, right? So earlier, it was a paper-based transactions were there, communication, storage, everything. But now electronic storage is allowed. Now electronically communication is allowed. Email, as I told you, are a valid document. Similarly, purchase, sale electronically, the through the bills is allowed now. Everything is in the court of law is the covered basically. So this was the major thing which IT Act basically now make the sweeping changes. So that we must be know as a consultant. Further, I think what major thing did to be more specifically grant legal recognition to all transaction done via electronic exchange of data or electronic means of communication or e-commerce. Like for example, like I many of you must be doing it. I place the order to buy a shares, right, through my agent, right, and that's called depository participant, and you're my broker, and it goes to the stock exchange. So entire communication of purchase and even exchange confirm it electronically through the contract note is absolutely now valid basically, right, which all of you must be aware. I think the buying and selling of a shares is the very easy way to understand how the electronic exchange of a data he has been now completely legal. So like if I sitting on my computer, I electronically enter a data of a purchase of a share. The electronic data information goes to through my broker's software to the exchange. That's called EDI, electronic data interchange, right? So it's called EDI. So when the electronically the data goes from one organization to the other. So from my broker, it goes to the NSE, and NSE execute the deal, like National Stock Exchange, and confirm it. And NSE later on send me the contract note, digitally signed. These are all valid transaction now. This is called electronic exchange of your data, right? So that you can understand. So similarly in e-commerce also, like I place a order electronically, okay, and then it is executed. The invoice is issued electronically and physically also. So all everything is now completely, which was earlier paper based, now has been legally recognized basically under the as per IT Act. So you can challenge in the court of law. Similarly, the IT Act did a very major thing, recognition to the digital signature, right? Digital signature, right? For anything, I think most of you are aware of the digital signature, right? So so I think they are issued by the separate agency. In our country, there are many agencies are there, right? So they are called CAs, certifying authorities, right? They are called CAs, certifying authority. In our country, we have Satyam, then Tata's, TCS, and many other agencies are there, which are basically recognized by the Ministry of Information Technology, and they are authorized to issue digital signature, right? So I think that is very very important. Many of you must have used has some of you use the digital signature. Can anybody confirm to me? Any of you use a digital signature in the so that I can be very clear you are aware of that.
Yes,
Yes, Vinay
yes, sir. I
Kanji.
use my digital signature.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Also use, yes. I think so. I think you all as a concern must be using it in the various document you will file to the government basically. So I think mostly a tender is there, even for filing the tax return, filing the compliance document to the government basically. So even issuing the bills like mostly like in our office also we issue the bills, and bills are all digitally signed basically now. There's no physical bill will send to the client basically. So all like basically yes. So I also issue DSC. Yes, yes, I think you're right. So this is what I think is the very very important aspect is there. Yes, I think so. This is a most of us, as I told you, there are agencies are there. They are called certifying authorities, CAs. So which are authorized by the Ministry of Information Technology. They in turn appoint multiple agent, right, and then they issues those DSCs, and there are for 2 years, sometimes 3 years, right? There are various categories are there, category 2, category 3. So multiple type of are there, and the charges are there accordingly. So that is all basically now has been recognized now, thus legal in the case of a by the IT Act. So if I signed a document with the DSC, is perfectly valid basically, right? Is perfectly valid essentially. So there is no problem in that basically, right? So that is the way we must be able to now understand, right? So it is, this is how it is there. Then further, it facilitates the electronic filing of document with government agencies and also the department, which anything most of you must be doing, like you file the tax return, you file the various compliance with the of the companies to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, right? Then even tender document we now electronically signed are there. So plethora of activities are happening now. So they're all done basically by that, so that I think we can understand very easily. So this all revolution came because IT Act facilitated electronic source of data. So IT Act recognize the whatever data stored electronically is valid. So and now is absolutely now like legally acceptable, right? So give legal sanction and also facilitate the electronic transfer of fund between banks and FIs. I think that again you must be doing. You can transfer the fund from one bank to other bank, from your account to the other account, or vice versa. So these are all legally allowed now, and recognition to the very important to the banker under Evidence Act. This is a very critical thing. See, earlier the Evidence Act in our country recognized only the hard copies, printed copies. That the electronic this document were not recognized as evidence. There was a major flaw. So the IT Act in our country give recognition that any kind of a electronic document, be a email or a invoice electronically signed, rather signed by digital signature, is a proper evidence under Indian Evidence Act 1891, and similarly as per the RBI Act. So this is something very major, nothing which has been there in like and a major change in our country which has come. So these are the really major sweeping changes which happen in our country. Like so the very clearly, like you can say that the IT Act, all contracts electronically, right? They are legally valid now, digital signature valid. Then it also ensure security measure for electronic records, right? So there are many stringent measure it has introduced, where electronic records, if are not properly kept, the respective companies can be penalized, right? Similarly, it has also talks about the appointment of various educating officers basically. So that also it talks like various educating officer. So this is where these things are happening now in these cases, right? And like where they can hold inquiry under the act, right? Then also it talks about establishing the cyber regulatory appellate tribunal. So in case of any issue at the level of educating officers, one can go to the appellate tribunal, right? Similarly, act applies to the very important offences and contravention commit outside India also. If of course it is applicable like to the like in India, but if a somebody commit anything outside India by sitting over here is covered basically, right? Then it also entail about cyber regulatory advisory committee to advise the government various changes from time to time. Now is to come the applicability, I think, which I touched briefly. Very interestingly, it applies to the entire country, including Jammu and Kashmir. I think many act in the past were not applicable to Jammu Kashmir, right? Of course, after the abolition of 370, I think government has made major changes. But now practically everything is applicable to J&K also, right? Otherwise, it was many act were not extended to the J&K. But now, like this cyber, this the IT Act very clearly applies, and where it applies to any offence, contravention committed even outside India also, right? So, if the conduct of a person constitutes the offence involves a computer or computerized system or a network located in India, then irrespective of her nationality, the person is punishable. So, one is it is applicable to any offence even committed outside India. Secondly, it is if it is committed by any person, even a non-resident, which involves a computer or a computerized system or a network located in India, right? So, if from India you are committing, anybody, whether he is a resident, non-resident, he or she will be punishable, right? So, if the computers or computerized system or network is in India, then irrespective of nationality, the person will be punishable under the act, basically, right? So, it's a very, very like strict act essentially, where like this is taken care. Okay, going further, where it is not applicable, there are some areas where it is not applicable. So, one is it is still like the Negotiable Instrument Act, execution instrument under the 1881, except checks. Checks are covered, but otherwise, other negotiable instrument, if are executed, it doesn't extend. Then the creation of a trust. If you create a trust under section 1882, right, to that this act is not applicable. Then power of attorney, which mostly are still executed in the hard copies by the various advocate, not covered. Then will under Indian Succession Act, right, or any other testamentary disposition, not applicable, right? But they're not extended to that. Like Indian Evidence Act extending, but this is not on this act. Or any contract of a sale or a conveyance of property, or any class of document transaction which as notified by the central government in the Gazette of India, right? So basically, like Indian Negotiable Act, Negotiable Instrument Act, accept checks, then the Trust Act, power of attorney, will, they are still not covered over here. Now that is something very, very important thing. They are still not being covered. They are still out of the purview of the Information Technology Act, basically, right? This is how like we must understand. Okay. So this is now this like we got a brief about the IT Act. Then come very important term, which I think you should all understand: digital forensic. Very, very relevant and very important term. Digital forensic, basically, right? So what does digital forensic mean, basically, right? So it's a very important act which we use, and the terms come regularly in this case over here. It's a very important terms, right? So what it says is a what is digital forensic? Is a process of preservation, identification, extraction, and documentation of a computer evidence, which can be used in the by the court of law, right? So this is a very, very important, because in the like forensic audit or in the fraud detection, many evidence is hard copies, but many evidence is the electronic ways, right? So that's computerized. So like there's a computer hard disk is there, there are CDs are there pen drives are there, data is stored. So now this is called digital forensics. So it doesn't cover the digital forensic the hard copies. It cover the evidence stored in computer, like the data. So digital forensic cover the process of how to preserve, identify, extract, and document a computer evidence which can be used in the court of law in the later stage. It's called digital forensic, basically. So many issues are there. So it's a science to finding evidence that digital media like computer, mobile phone, server. It can be mobile phone, it can be computer, server, network, anything, right? So it's a very critical thing which we should know about this term of digital forensic. Just a minute. So, of course, this evidence helps to analyze, inspect, and very clearly now, like now it resides on the various electronic devices. It can be pen drive, external disk, CD, multiple medias are there. What are the characteristics of computer forensics are there? Digital forensic, computer forensic, the terms are very interchangeably used. What is the like objective? So objective is to, it helps to recover, analyze, preserve computer and related material in such a manner that it helps investigation agency to present as a them as a evidence in the court of law. So what the objective? Objective is to preserve the electronic evidence in the shape of a data. It can be in the computer, it can be in the mobile network, it can be in the this wireless network, it can be in server, it can be in the other devices, or it can be like in the some external device like pen drive, CD, external disk, which all you understand. So that is the called computer. Now, like that evidence, when we preserve properly, we are able to analyze it basically, right? So that is called the computer forensic or digital forensic. So what is the further objective? It's really like clearly it postulates the motive behind the crime and the identity of the main culprit. So another purpose of the computer forensic or digital forensic is to very clearly that it helps to very clearly judge the motive of crime and the main culprit, like because how he tempered, how he kept it. It really also entails designing procedures at a suspected crime scene, like when you go to the place of where these computers are lying, how you will take the this backup, how you will take the evidence so that it's not tampered. It all cover that. It also covers data acquisition, duplication, how you acquire the data, how you keep a copy of your data, because everything has to be preserved and taken in a very, very careful manner. Because the court of law, if the evidence is not properly taken care, it can be a problem. I give a very, very, very interesting example, like which we saw in some case, not recently, but few years back, where like since the police they also need to be trained. I think now they are well trained but not earlier. So in one case of a like fraud, the police raided along with the CBI. There they got hold of various CDs basically, right, that time, to as a evidence where data was there. So they took up the CDs, and the CDs were to be present in the court of law. So what they did foolishly, these police people, they put a hole in each CD, right? Like in paper we did it by the screw, and then they put a tag and then put along with the evidence. Now, once you put a hole, the CD become useless, right? So this actual case I'm telling you, the CD become useless. You can't use the CD. And this what happened in that case, entire evidence completely become redundant. So you need to know how to really what procedure need to adopt. Of course, now the police are well trained and many forensic auditors are training them. But earlier, this was not the case. So that is where you need to be very well aware. So also it really helps to like identify the evidence quickly and very clearly made a report and very clearly preserve as a chain of custody. How really now like one evidence, two evidence, three evidence, we all keep a record. So of course this entails these like 5 step digital forensic, right? These entail 5 steps basically. So like identification, preservation, analysis, and the documentation and the presentation. So what is identification? In the part of forensic, you identify the purpose of investigation, identify the resources required. So first and foremost, you identify what is the purpose, right? So like is a purpose of the forensic audit is to really able to now like what is the purpose. I give an example of purpose, like again this I think around few years back we worked on assignment basically. It was handled by the given by the SEBI basically, like SEBI. So they called few of the forensic auditors, and they said we wanted to like you to investigate some of the major brokers in the country, like so they divide and two brokers like we investigated. So and gather some do some gather some evidence and how they are working. So we asked them, what is your purpose? Please tell us the purpose. Why do you want to investigation? Right? The purpose was asked. So they told us that very clearly that time. They had a lot of complaints that many brokers were executing deals without the instruction from a customer. Right? So like broker have access to the customer shares electronically, whatever other securities. So they tell ki brokers sometimes execute the deal without the like customer instruction. So customer said, I have not given instruction. Broker said, no, I have received your phone call. There is a whole confusion is there. So please identify, please investigate and give us evidence whether like the brokers are right or the customer is right. So the purpose is very important. Right? So that is like the, of course, it was a long investigation. We went ahead and but this is what I'm giving example how the purpose is important. So first you have to identify what is the purpose of investigation. Then you also have to identify what sources you need basically like to do the investigation. Maybe many tools are there like to take up the backup. Like one of the tool we use, FTK tool is there. Like it's a very famous tool in market. May you will find FTK tool. So there are many other tools also are there. Like idea is a one tool. You will be trained on the idea software. Don't worry. That is part of your curriculum. I think in module 2 or 3, you all will be given a exposure to the idea software, which is very critical software where you can learn about these things basically, right? so so once you identify the purpose resource, then you go for the data. You isolate the data, secure, preserve. Like I suppose I know there is some data in the computer, I will completely isolate, secure and preserve the data so that will take a backup. Once I take a I backup, then I analyze the data, right? So I analyze the data with the tools also are there. You process, you make the changes in the data because this is a copy of the data, not main data. You should not see the main data, but the copy of the data. Then you interpret, analyze the result, and based on that, you document. You take a documentation of the entire crime, photographing, sketching, and similarly, you document the process which you performed, and then ultimately you present the fact and draw conclusion. So, this all the forensic identification, preservation, analysis, documentation, and presentation. So, this how the this digital forensic takes care basically, right? So that is something very critical which we should understand. So this of course same explained over there. I'm just going further. Types of digital forensic, right? What types are there? Like how now by the time I think the digital forensic term should be clear to each one of you. So type of digital forensic, first is the disk forensic. It deal with extracting the data from a storage media by searching active, modified, deleted file. Even deleted files are we capture basically. Right, even modified file. So it's not just because there the data may be very critical also. So but here we take the data from the disk. Disk can be the external disk, can be the hard disk. Mostly disks are there, but there are other disks also are there, right? In the computer, maybe the cache memory, RAM, right? Are you aware of this disk? Other data can be there, cache memory, RAM. Any of you? Can you just tell me where the data beside hard disk is there? Little technical thing I'm just asking, but since you're all learning this area, you should be aware of that. Are you aware of that? Beside the hard disk and this, the data may be there on the RAM and on the cache memory or in the registers also. Any are you aware of that? Any of you? Yes,
Yes,
full
sir.
form given Binay Kanji, random access memory. Yes, Rakesh Kumar Sinha ji also said. So these are also, of course, the data get erased from that, but still as the auditor we check them. RAM, which is again inside the computer. Then there is a cache memory. Cookies doesn't carry the data, Asghar Khan ji. Cache memory. There's a cache files are different, cache memory is different. There are cache files are there and cache memory. The two terms are there. So cookies doesn't carry a data, right? Yeah, When computer abolished, then the cache memory and the RAM doesn't have a data, but we still check that possibility there is some data reside over there. So as an auditor, when we go for digital forensic, when you take a backup, we do check whether cache memory or the RAM does carry some data or not, because that may be possible. Of course, technically they should not hold, but we do check as auditor कि some critical data may be there. So to make completely sure कि there is no data we missed out basically, right? Yeah. So of course you are right. That is so. This how like the little things we check. So the on the hard disk basically we take. Sorry, just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. I think I opened some wrong slide. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. Next is the network forensic basically. Like so, it is another like we very clearly check the data which is going through the network basically. Their devices are there. So when the data travels through network, right? So like so there is data we capture, like when you're talking the on the phone, your voice travel through the wave, like as a part of a microwave, and then goes to your like the person who is listening to your call. So in that case, like this network forensic, the data through the network is captured basically. There are devices, router, switches, firewall, many devices are there basically. So there we use them. So that also carry the data, like this router switches, they also carry the data many times. Then we have a wireless forensic, right? So wireless, of course, now is a part of a network forensic, because the network mostly data goes to the wireless means, right? So it's a part of that basically, right? But like here, network forensic covers the data which reside even on the network devices. In the wireless, the data travel through the wireless network, that we also try to capture basically. Then we have the database forensic basically, right? So database, whatever data is there, main data that we capture, and then also the metadata, right? Anybody aware of what is metadata? Have you listened this term? What is metadata? Anybody aware of that? What is metadata? Not really. I think checking with the Google now, most of you, maybe I think. Metadata is data about data, right? Metadata. So we check the metadata also. So what does it mean, data about data? Like how the data is being accessed, who is accessing it, what are the access timings are there, what the access load is there. That's called metadata, data about data. Now, like to give you example a little more clearly, like mostly when we do bank audits, forensic audit of the banks, there we also check what are the frequency timings of accessing the bank's central data. Like if somebody accessing the central data in the midnight, it's a worrisome sign. Why? How can we access? It means some branch is open, some regional office is open. Why they are all working odd, like such odd hours? So that is called the metadata. So data about data basically, right? So there we also check these things, right? Is a definition description of a data. Yes, I think Binay Kanji has maybe mentioned. Yes, it's in fact it has two things: data about data. It has a definition, description, and the how the data is being accessed, right? It's not a technical term. I think maybe for the Google, I think Binay Kanji has just copied it. So I'll explain to you. Last is the malware forensic. So it deal with the identification of malicious code, to study their payload, mean how many like malwares are there, viruses, worms, multiple things are there, right? So very clearly like are there. So you must have listened many times. Viruses, worm, they're all basically malicious code, right? But there's a difference between virus and the like. Acha, okay, Binay Kanji. I know you must have. Okay, good. I think. So what is virus? Virus is normally which destroy the files, right? And but the this case in this case like now in this case In this case, you know, the worms are sort of a virus, but they have a special feature. They multiply automatically. Virus doesn't multiply. Like worms from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 16, 16 to 256 goes on like that. So they are very, very like have this feature basically, worms. So they also damage the file. Okay, and they slow down the computer also. So digital forensic is all about analyzing these things basically, right? Going further, what problems are there? What challenges are digital forensic? By the time the terms very clear to you, what is the increase of PC extensive use of internet access? Because it requires a lot of use of PC and the extensive use of internet, right? So connectivity need to be very, very good. Then another thing, like the what challenges are there basically, a lot of hacking tools are there. So the hackers can access the data anytime, right? Anytime from anywhere, right? Like recently, I tell you, in one of my own client case, right? Like one of the hacker, he was sitting in the Dubai, and from the Dubai, he hacked into of my client system in Okhla in Delhi, and he is able to retrieve all the board resolution from the MD's system. Everything he is able to. Right? He hacked into the MD's system, and all the critical board resolution he is able to hack. And in fact, he was known to me. He showed to me. He like this what I have done it. So and of course like we later on helped the company to strengthen the system. But he was sitting in the Dubai, and from there he accessed the systems in the Oakland, Delhi, and retrieve the entire board resolution. So you can see how much like is the hacking can do it. So hacking is a very, very risky process, right? So also like another problem, of course IT has taken care, but the lack of evidence like make bit difficult prosecution. Of course electronically things are recognized, but still the courts in our country prefers the physical evidence. Also, the data is in huge space, terabytes, petabyte, exabyte. The data goes in that. Very difficult to handle, right? So these are very challenges. And then if the technology changes, right, the upgradation, even the like upkeeping of the skills also is required. So it may be a big challenge. So if the like the person who use this technology are not well equipped, they'll not be able to handle it. So like in digital forensic, that's why like you will be taught the idea software as a part of that. Of course there are multiple tools are there. So I'm not sure how much tool, but I think like last time when I took your batch 1 session, that time we covered the idea software. But this time I'm in talk with your directorate, where we may be like looking to teach you some other tools also. Like, so let me see how like these tools are made available to you. But idea software is very well, you can see that. But in the future we will be covering some tools which I am thinking that you can be taught on those certain tools also beside idea software, so that you get more confidence how to do the forensic audit. Okay, anyway in the this we'll see in the future how things transpired basically, right? That I'm just talking to in the to a directorate. So this is how like the tools are very, very important. Going further, like where like the digital forensic can be used, right? So if there's a theft of intellectual property, they like how the storage there. So sometimes you have a copyright, right? Sometimes you have a like formulas are there which are like very confidential, like and they are under copyright, but somebody stole those your intellectual property, right? Industrial espionage, very, very major area, where like the sometime employees sell the critical like formulations, critical documentation, and so that is called industrial, and it is they are lured by the competitors. So how they send the mail, in fact their mails are checked, their like mails logs are checked, multiple things are done. Of course I will not be able to go in detail, but many things we have done like industrial espionage, then employment dispute. So where like there is some dispute is there, where some kind of a like attendance record tampering is there, some other things are there, the dispute arises, so there we check it. Fraud investigation, that anyway is a major area I told you, where this digital forensic is used. You take a backup of various like data, you check the login activity, logout activity, so whole lot of everything you check it basically, right? And this how we takes care of that thing, right? So this how it is we, yes, yes, GSK Verma, we are thinking of that. Idea software anyways approved one, but other tool I am also in talk with your directorate, and I hope like now like we be now like once we go to the module 2 and 3, yeah, like whosoever like takes, I think we will be able to touch upon that. Okay, don't worry. So then, of course, inappropriate use of internet, email. I think this happens quite a bit, and that is why many companies do not allow the like access to the Gmail at their working place. But even like emails, official email, they are being tracked by the employers, and they have a very minimum, like not like maximum attachment you can attach. For forgery related to forgery related matters, sometimes you do forgery, forged documentation, forgery like you do forge invoices, bankruptcy investigation, there also we use it. Some company falsely declare them bankrupt, so whether we check their data information, or if it's case of a regulatory compliance. So in all such cases, this is a very, very major area where like this digital forensic is used. Yes, yeah. You're right. I think I agree with the GSK Varmaji that we will be, so that of course idea is a very critical tool where like you will be taught how to detect a fraud. So there was a Benfold law, many other things you will be taught basically. Very interesting, like matching of the record, but there are other tools also are there, so we'll see that if those tools can be used, and you are taught like FTK tool like which I use regularly, we'll see that also, right? Very true, yeah. Okay, yeah, both are important, theory practical, both are very, very important. I totally agree with you, yeah. Okay, then goes advantages of the digital. What are the advantages and disadvantages, right? So advantages, very clearly, it ensures the integrative computer system, because you take up the proper backup, proper data, and then like no tampering of evidence is done in the computer system. The computer data is absolutely preserved basically. Then it can be produced as evidence in the court, whatever evidence we take through the digital forensic, and also it very clearly to understand, it help the companies to very clearly conclude whether their computer system network have been compromised, if somebody stolen the data. That also helps basically. It also helps to track down criminal anywhere in the world. So like because this very clearly network is worldwide, but through the IP address you can always capture. And similarly it really able to protect the organization's money value, like valuable time basically. But there are disadvantages are there. So digital evidence in the court, but must we prove that there is no temp. This is the biggest challenge in the court. It is accepted, but if there is a doubt about the tampering, entire evidence get rejected basically. So that is a very, very major problem. So you must be able to prove that there is no tampering. So that is why you need to have proper tool. Experts are there who can take care of that. It's not that anybody can do that. So these are something very, very important things need to be taken care. Yeah. So further, just 1 minute. Okay. Also, like storing the electronic record, producing them is a costly affair. You need, if the data is very, very heavy, you need to have proper devices to store them. The cost goes up. Also, another problem in the digital forensic come, the legal practitioner, the advocate, the other consultant, they should also have a extensive computer knowledge, because it is they who has to present in the court of law. So if they are not expert, if they not have extensive knowledge, then they will not be able to present in the court in a very, very acceptable way, basically. So it is a very, very major thing which we should take care. So that is how, like, this is something, a very critical aspect, right? So that is, I think, we need to be very careful on this matter. So going further, in this case, you should, evidence should be authentic and convincing. And if there's a lack of technical knowledge, the evidence, whatever you gather, will not be able to very effective. So this is all about the which we try to think. Rakesh, can you have a workshop on the use of tool, or there will be a practical use of tool in this batch? So within this batch, Rakesh Kumar ji, like, there is a practical session is also entailed, but as of now, as per your curriculum, the session practically is scheduled like in the later in the module 2 or 3, I believe, and that is on the idea software. There's an idea software. You will be like given a copies. You will be like told to download on your computers, and then together with the faculty, either me or somebody else, whosoever will be there, you will be doing the practically taught. But this was done in the last batch also, batch 1, right? But what this time I'm suggesting to our ICI, to the institute, that maybe we'll try to use more tools, like FTK tool is there. There is a na like an na Metasploit tool is there. So some more tool which are a bit complex, but I'm just exploring the possibility of them using, and in talks with your officials over there, and then we'll finalize. But idea anyway you will be doing it, that anyway part of your curriculum, so don't worry about that. But others, but it, the workshop will be within that, right? Not separately, like practical session, right? So I hope it is clear to our friend Rakesh Kumar ji. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I know that is practical is always more like required, but both is will be is there. So that is how the digital forensic is there. Then come the next aspect, cyber laws are there. Like so, after digital forensic, cyber laws are there in our country. Beside IT Act, many. So because the data travel through the cyber world, you need a proper laws to monitor, control, supervise in a multiple ways. So the cyber laws in the present scenario are very, very important, and one of them, of course, the IT Act, which I've discussed with you briefly. So as the challenge of technology increases, the gathering of evidence become more important. So in that case, the like cyber laws become very important. Like in our country, we have a National Crime Record Bureau, where they said that more than 4,000 cyber crime were registered in the IT Act, right, during the this 2009 and 11. Now they have gone up tremendously. So that way it is a very, very major area. So what legal provisions are there? Like one is, of course, I told you about the evidence, basically, right? So Indian evidence 1872, that has now been amended, basically, and the under the like Information Technology Act section 4, right? This very clearly has been very clearly has been added that the electronic evidence will be treated as a written if need arises. So the electronic form will be treated as a written if need be arises. So it will treat as a written one, because the evidence act talk this very clearly, the acceptability of the digital evidence in the trial. So this one was done. Secondly, the section 79A of the IT amendment which has been done. So which define electronic evidence. right? As any information of a probability value that is either stored, transmitted electronic form and include computer evidence, digital audio, digital video, cell phone, digital fax machine. So define the what is electronic evidence, because that also is very very important. So it covers a very anything in electronic form in the on the computer, digital audio, digital video, cell phone, fax machine, everything. And then of course like the section 65B of the Evidence Act talks about that the electronic record will be admissible. So there is amendment in the Evidence Act also. So this how these things were taken care, and these were the various amendment was done and taken care in this case, right? Then going for the some few more things like so cyber laws I was talking basically. So how these cyber laws are pretty important. So like of course in the major problem if you see in this case like this how the cyber crime occurred. So like there is a target is the hacking is done, and it can be the denial of service, virus dissemination. There are multiple ways are there. So maybe I'll explain to these terms how this computer crime happen. It can be hacking, which I think you all understand very well, how the system is hacking is done. Denial of service, I think this, I think I don't know whether I explained to you or not. Denial of service is a normal way to attack a computer, which is done where a normal user is denied the access of a service. So this mostly done like in case of like this now when this like suppose this Amazon, all this e-commerce company announces some bonanza like Diwali bonanza, some other thing, and then the hacker, the what they by the robotic system crowded the network where genuine user are not able to log in. That's called denial of service. So there are a lot of like problems they arose, they create basically for them. Then the virus dissemination that you know very very well. There are viruses are there where like the information is very clearly captured, right? So you must be knowing that the keylogger softwares are there, which is used to like get the information about yours now like this relating to the ID password. Website defacement, this happened many time. I think few recently you must have noticed that the some of the government of India's ministry website has been put, the Pakistan flag has been put. This is a website defacement. So this how the hacker does it. Spoofing, you spoof yourself, like you basically now like enter. Spoofing mean you enter system by stealing somebody ID password. So you spoof the identity. Spamming, there are spam mails are there. That I think you must be knowing about that, where like they try to extract the information. So these are various ways are there where attacks happen basically, right? So I think this is what is the always the case. So and this attacks happens. So and by that they like commit the financial fraud, data modification, identity theft, cyber stacking, all these things they does it. So it's a very major area in that cases, and that is why this IT Act has been strongly taken care, right? And the evidence has been used. So and similarly like now like so where evidence now is tracked. There's a one thing I want to talk to you. That's called hashing. Anybody knows what is hashing? Is a very important method to ensure the integrity of a digital evidence. Anybody aware of that? What is hashing? I think maybe somewhere I'll explain to you, but anybody aware of that? What do you mean by hashing? Is a very important tool to ensure the integrity of a information. Hashing. Any of you aware of that? Cryptography is different from hashing, but in cryptography we may use hashing. Is a part maybe sometime, but there are two different things. Binay Kansina ji. Any of you hashing?
Is it tracking
Blockchain.
back, sir? Tracking
No,
back?
no. Okay, encrypting, as I told you, in many of the cryptography, they use hashing as a part, right? But what is hashing? Okay, I'll explain to you, and don't worry. Hashing is a very important tool to check integrity. I think maybe now what I will tell you, you can simply, I'm just writing over there MD5, then MD4. I just put in this message box. These tools are there, like this is called message digest. MD, these are tools are there. You can go on Google. Just learn this interesting thing. There's message digest 5, messages 4. The tools are there. They are basically hashing tool basically. Now, what happen in hashing tools? You know, suppose you type something. Like suppose you type something. Like I gave you the example of how MD5 works. It's a tool basically. Suppose if I type, I'm going to office, and then I run this tool and create a, it will, after running this tool, it will give me a hashing value. Certain jumbled word will come, a at the rate a b c d, some value will come basically, right? So if I type again I'm going to office, it will generate the same value. But if I type I'm going to the office, full stop, I put a full stop now, the hashing value will be different, right? Different hashing value will come. So this way I can check somebody has tampered my earlier data. So hashing is a very important tool which is used to check the integrity of a data, right? So encryption, Ramakantji, is used in the, like hashing is used within encryption basically, right? So rather cryptography may this encryption. So when we do the cryptography, like then we use within that, one of the tool is a, like hashing. But hashing we need to understand separately. Encryption can be done without hashing also, like there are now, like private key, public key is there. If I can explain to those. So with private public key, I can encrypt a data and then I can do it. But within that encryption, I use hashing to further strengthen the process of encryption. So I'm just talking about hashing right now. So I think I give example, like right now you may not be aware, but like earlier when our banks were not on the CBS, like right now all banks are CBS, there was a TBA system was there, total branch automation. Like if it's the banking, first came the, in our country the was the manual banking, then came the TBA branch. The branch were automated, but there was no inter-branch like data sharing was there. So that's called TBA concept, total branch automation. Then came CBS, like which we have. So the TBA, so the data was electronically. So like when we go for audit, this around 10 years back, I'm saying, not recently, around 10 years back, I'm talking. That time, every in the evening, when the branch closes, they have a one hashing software. So they used to run the software over the branch data that time in the evening, and a 15-digit value used to come. And that 15-digit value they need to enter into a hashing register. That's called hashing register. In the morning when the branch open, they again run the same hashing software, and again the value come, which again they note down in the today morning in from the last yesterday's value. And if the value differs from yesterday evening value to the morning value, it means somebody has tampered the data in the after yesterday closure of the bank. This is a security is used basically, right? In the this so hashing. So this also is used in the current days in the banking in our country, right? But not in the, like the way I told you, the data center, because data center now is a centralized nowadays. Okay. So I think what we can do, we can just take a break. I think 005. Maybe you can just refresh yourself. Maybe 5 7 minute break. 7 minute break will take is all theory session. We'll try and complete this now quickly, this forensic, then we'll take a case study. I think we'll do that way, okay? Because it's long theory session, so you all get a little now like bored also, okay? So I'll take up after that, right? So but we'll complete that, will take another 5 minutes, I think. Yeah, okay. So you can take a break and then we'll resume the session right after like maybe 7 minutes, 8:12. I'll come back. Okay, thank you. So we'll start the session now, I think. Yes. So we were in the later part of the cyber laws basically, and I was talking the hashing, how hashing is used to ensure the integrity is a very important part of the cyber laws, which is used by the specialist to take care of this aspect. So going further about the cyber laws, so of course in the cyber laws the CBI also is involved basically, and we have the Cyber Crime Research Development Unit, CCRDU. Then also we have the Cyber Crime Investigation Cell. So because nowadays a lot of crimes are happening through the cyber basically, right? Through the when the data goes from one system to other in the cyber world. So that is why we have a CFSL also, then there are network monitoring centers also there. So multiple agencies are there in our country which are involved into that. So CCRDU is mainly collect the task of information on the cyber crime cases, and further liaise with the state police force is a main body. Then CCIC, this cyber crime investigation cell basically of the CBI, they investigate the offenses. So CCRDU is a body to collate the information. CCIC, which investigate the crimes under the IT Act, and also the very clearly contact with the Interpol if the crime is internationally across the borders. Then the CFL, very thanks, Cyber Forensic Laboratory, which provide consultation, conduct criminal investigation for various law enforcement agencies, and provide assistance for computer search, seizure, etc. So this is basically the CFL does the digital forensic work basically. It's very clearly a nice seizure of the evidence and everything. So that is how it is done by these various agencies, right? So where CFSL now take, then we have the Network Monitoring Center, NMC, right? They monitor the network traffic, how the any illegal data has been traveling, information traveling. So they very user through the internet, various tools, they keep checking the tracking the data basically, right? So there are various agencies are there internationally in our case. And then of course another issue comes in this finally, whether the private investigators are preferred or not. So many time HDFC Bank and other banks basically they also do their own investigation basically, right? But it is the essentially advisable to use the expert from the various law enforcement agencies, right? Because they are very expert. They know that they have tools, many things are there. So that is something very, very important things are there. But many time banks goes now, and it is advisable that they should use these official bodies to conduct. So privately is not very preferred tool, but I think now the private system is growing very, very strongly. Like many banks are getting forensic audit done, and of course the prosecution done by the enforcement agency, not by the banks. But now it is very, very strong system is coming up in our country also. So this is all about the this chapter 15 basically 16 rather, which was quite detailed, where we went over there. Yes. So yes, many issues we discussed about the this about cyber forensic, digital forensic, many things we discussed over there. Yes, of course, you were asking anything in summary, you can ask any question or any issue you want to discuss about the this topic, particularly which was quite long topic basically, where we discussed the IT Act, then the digital forensic, cyber law, three major area we touched upon. So yes, anything if you feel you want to ask or some share your views about this chapter before we go move further. Yeah, please share anything, yeah, or any question, yeah, please. Yes, any doubt or anything. or any clarification? So, or any discussion, I think, since it was. So please feel free to ask. Yes, anybody of you. Yes.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Kindly, please, kindly. Yes.
Sir, this credit card frauds are there, no, where they hack and they take I mean, swipe the money and everything. Does cyber law look into that, sir?
See, one is, ma'am, the credit card fraud are basically at a bank level when you misuse them, and so banks takes care of them, and then in that cases the banks use the, if the crime is serious, the banks use the help of a local police basically. So the cyber laws and the cyber like major thing are done where fraud occur through the cyber, through the network basically, right? So like that is the cyber laws come into the operation. Like I am sitting in India, I transfer money illegally from India to other country, right? Or by sitting in India, I hack into somebody's system and then I withdraw the money. There come the cyber law. I use network basically. In
Oh,
case of a credit card, the it is the at a particular like ATM machine, I commit a fraud. I swipe the like the credit card illegally, or I capture the information of a credit card and then I withdraw the money. So it is the bank you have to lodge a complaint, and bank, if the crime is serious further, then bank can lodge a police complaint also. This matter at the police level. It doesn't go to CBI level or at a cyber law. So that is the difference. Cyber only comes when we use the network, cyber network, like we data travel through the network and commit a crime basically, right? So this is the
okay.
difference between that. Yeah.
So
Yes.
actually, what happened? One of my
Yeah.
friend's credit card,
Yeah.
it was swiped somewhere in Korean currency, right? Korean
Ah.
currency, 7 times they had put the expiry date wrong, and eighth time they were succeeding in putting that means expiry date, and they went ahead and
Uh,
swiping the card and transferring the money. And the banks generally they will have to initiate an action that after 3 times, if they put, the card has to be blocked. But
blocked. Yeah.
nothing of that is there. So
Mm.
the money has been transferred from the account. So to a different country. So that is why I just wanted to know whether it is in the bank level or it the cyber laws are involved in that.
But in that, bank is involved. You have to chase the banker, right? And then do it. So, but since it is the involving the transferring the money to the foreign country, so
Hmm.
in that case, bank, if possible, can use the cyber laws. But normally, banks now like need to, because how the bank will recover if the money has been transferred to some foreign country, then they
Hmm.
may be using the like the CBI, because CBI, through the CBI one can go use the Interpol. Interpol
Oh.
is the like international police. You can't, local police cannot approach the Interpol. Only CBI
Hmm.
can approach the Interpol. In that case, now like a bank can go to the CBI, and then CBI to the Interpol can initiate the action. This is the way process goes. It's very tardy process. I don't know how the bank will take interest into that. In that
Huh.
case, they should go, because local police may not be able to help in recovering the money basically. But then bank has to approach the CBI, and CBI through the Interpol has to work. This is how the process. In that case, it may, they should go basically. Yes, you are right, absolutely, because it is the
Oh.
international now ramification are involved over here. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Anybody else? Any like thought? Any discussion over the this topic which we have just closed, basically chapter 16? Yes. Or any afterthought? So please feel share so we can discuss together. Yeah. Any question or anything? Hmm. Okay, I think so. If there is nothing to discuss, I think if the things are clear. But this, please practice MD5 software. It's very freely available software. You don't have to spend anything, and learn that little about the hashing basically. So some concept you can learn, This MD5 and MD4 software, you can use it very clearly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now we will take up the case study basically, right? So I'll take up the case study. I'm just opening the one case study, and again you go through, and then we will discuss and have a look for the answer. Yeah. So give me 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just sharing. Yes, I'm just sharing, sir. Just yeah. You can see me also, Farooq ji. I'm just switched on. So let me just share the screen. Give me 1 minute, sir. Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah. Case of a living dead. Is the screen visible to you? Just confirm to many of you. Yes. Screen
Yes, sir.
visible? Okay. Thank you very much. Please now read it. And yeah, just 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please read it.
So for me, the screen is not visible.
I'll reshare once more. Just 1 minute. Yeah, I'll reshare once more. Maybe sometime it happened. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, but Rajamani said visible. I'm just resharing. Maybe then otherwise you have to check your own system because Rajamani ji gave it. Yeah, I'm resharing. So if there's any issue, it can be taken care. Yeah, I have now reshared. Now please confirm is visible or
Yes,
not. Is visible. Yeah, so please read. I think yeah.
Yes, sir.
Visible, sir.
Visible.
Sir, now
Please read.
it's not visible for me,
Not
sir.
visible, sir. It's not visible for me.
How many are saying not visible? Many of them.
Yes, sir,
Rajamani
it's
said,
not visible for me.
ma'am, it means there is some problem at your system level. Otherwise, it should not have happened, right? Or what I can do, if you want, I can send the this to the group, and then you can read over there. Is it that? Should I do that? I can
Yes,
send
sir.
this in
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
the
Yes.
That will be
yeah.
better.
Okay. So just give me 1 minute. I'm just stopping the sharing. I'll just share in the group. Just give me 1 minute. Some are saying visible, but I'm sharing the group. I think. Give 1 minute. So then I think I'm just stopping share right now. So give me 1 minute. I'll transfer this to the group, and then you can. Some of who have a problem, they can look in the group also. Yeah. Just give me 1 minute. It'll take 1 minute. Just 1 minute. So you can read through the group if there's a problem. Normally it should be visible. Should not be a problem. But just a minute. So just 1 minute. Let me finish this. So I shared in the group now. So please, you can open this file in the group. Yes. So please now, I'm sharing over here. Those are problem in the over visibility, then they can look in the group also. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just sharing it over there now. So both way now is visible to you. Just 1 minute. Now is visible in the screen. Just now let me know. Case of a living dead is visible. Please.
No, no,
No,
sir.
sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
No visible. Huh?
No,
Just
sir.
I'll give you 1 minute. I think there are 1 minute. I think I'll close. There are multiple files are there. Let me close that file. Just give me 1 minute.
No, sir, it is not visible now. Earlier
No,
it
no,
was visible.
I just stopped now. I'm just resetting. Just give me 1 second, sir. 1 minute. I'll just reline something with the problem. Just sort it out. Because just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Now look at I've just shared. Is it visible or not now? Case of living dead.
No,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Visible.
Is visible?
Yes, sir.
Visible, sir.
Yeah. So those I still cannot see. I think they can refer to the which I shared in the group. I think now it's still visible. Some of maybe the problem, but now please we can read together now. You can read now. Okay. Case of living dead. Now please keep telling me when I scroll down.
Sir, please scroll down, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, please scroll down, sir.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, scroll down, please.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, please scroll down.
Okay, okay.
Sir, please scroll down, sir. Sir, scroll down, please.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, G.
Sir, please close. Hold on.
Please wait, sir.
Okay.
Last one. So this is all was there.
Hmm.
Yes. So please share your opinion, my dear friend. Hmm. Yes. Please share your opinion. So I think what is your take on that? So I think you can unmute or you can just share in the chat box. Yes. I think two number I was seeing Rakesh Kumar, Diljit Kaur. Please somebody add in the group who has an admin right. These two numbers. So they also should have information. I think these groups they were not there. So please add somebody help them. I think yeah. Okay. Yes, please share your please sir. I want your answer, your opinion. So please, what is your take on that? Yes, you're all experts. I think it's a very interesting case. Of course, facts are very clear. Planned fraud. Farooq ji saying. It's a planned fraud. Yeah, 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 yeah. By whom? By the daughter or by the mother or the husband? Who did the planning? Who is the main culprit in that? Yeah, the link has been shared by Harshvardhan ji. So I think Farooq ji and they can copy this link and then they can do. Husband plan the link. Rakesh is saying husband, not the daughter. Okay. So doubt goes to husband. We'll see the answer very soon. Yeah, please, anybody. But husband is not aware. Impersonal fraud by the daughter, London mein. GSK Verma is blaming the daughter. Those I think I'm just sharing it with those who want to add in the group. They can just copy now. They're in the chat box. Copy this chat link and they can join themselves now. There's no need to ask anybody. Harshvardhan ji, our friend, has shared a link over there. So you can copy this link, right? I think, and you can straightway add. Yes. Vidyut Kumar said the mother-daughter relationship needs to be probed basically. So Vidyut Kumar ji went, yes. So there's a daughter to be blamed, husband to be blamed. The husband was not aware of that. Vidyut ji is saying mother-daughter relationship needs to be probed basically. Yes. What else is the doubt? Anybody else? Other opinion? The blame goes to the husband, daughter, but investigation further. Any other opinion? Please share. You can mute. Yes.
Sir, is it that daughter created a fictitious character of mother and did it?
No, mother was genuinely alive. Mother was, yeah. Acha, now I think you are saying since she did not die, so the daughter created fictitious mother, some and wrong and admit that. Okay, very
Yeah.
interesting. So Sanjita Basudev, who died then? Yes, mother was alive. You are very interesting. So there is another dimension came. There was an impersonation. I think by the daughter. GSK Verma also said. I think. Good, I think there's a thought going on. Yes, Aditi ji, please speak. You can speak now. Aditi ji, please speak, my friend.
Yeah, sir. What I think is, since the
Yes.
daughter was also a doctor,
Yeah.
she would have arranged I mean, a patient would have come to her and she would have got her admitted, that patient admitted in her mother's name and
Hmm.
totally faked that process. And in that way, they duped the hospital and the doctors. I don't think the doctors are also involved in this. I think the daughter, she planned the whole thing and she framed somebody
Okay.
as her
Okay.
mother.
Okay, Aditi, thank you very much. I think so. But Asghar Khan ji is blaming the hospital also. So many our forensic auditors, I think, are going in a very, very interesting way. So hospital involved. Sanjita Basuji also involving the hospital. We'll see the answer very soon. But let me see your opinion. So blames are coming to the hospital also. So
Yeah,
I think
the hospital will
yes.
also get a share, no, sir. That's why hospital also would be involved as per Sanjita Basu.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay. So the hospital also has been pulled up by the our forensic auditor, all of you. So I think is a very interesting thing. Okay. Shri, I think maybe let us see the answer now. I'll share with the answer and let us read the answer and understand. Entire family plan worked with the hospital. Harshvardhan involved entire family. Okay. So let us see who is involved and we'll see who is ultimately gave the right answer for many of you. Okay. So just give me a sec. I think I'll just share with the answer with you. Just a minute. It's a very interesting case. So let us see that who is the really the right answer have shared. Just 1 minute. It's a very interesting case which we are just see living dead. Title itself is very interesting. Okay. So just 1 minute. Okay, so I'm just sharing the slide with you. So just 1 minute. Yeah, actual fraud. Is it visible to slide to each one of you? Just kindly confirm to me.
No, sir, it's not visible to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think there is a
Visible, sir.
problem, ma'am, at your
Yes,
Visible, sir.
visible, visible, sir, visible.
visible. Some of the visibility is not there, I think. Okay, we will read. I'll share the answer very soon. Don't worry. So others can read. I'll share the answer in the group, I think. So let us read first all the. Maybe I'll read out to for those who cannot see that. So I think then others can also be the pit. Yes, I'll just read out also. Dee's husband has lost a huge sum of money in England in gambling, and he had been threatened by the gangster. Dee's daughter's husband. He had a friend in insurance company in England who told him that he could get quick money and pay off his debt by falsifying the death of a in a life insurance claim of a relative in a country outside England. So this was the planning. So all that was necessary was the death certificate which which would stand up the scrutiny. Therefore, he pressurized his wife D to lay foundation by inviting his mother-in-law M to permanently reside in England. When M came, a huge insurance policy was taken. So she was called beside to create a policy basically. Being a normal healthy person, she passed the medical test without any problem. Very interesting. Then she went back to India. Dee's husband managed to locate some poor lady from the distant village in India. So now you can see I think some of you answered very clearly, very interestingly, who wanted medical treatment for a serious ailment and paid for her expenses on the condition that she posed as M during the hospitalization. So a poor lady was hired who was in the need of a treatment. So she was treated and cared for and then sent back to her village. The 15-day hospitalization was actually a backdrop to stage the eventual death of M. Okay, D's husband took no chances in medical tests and hospitalization and used the most reputable doctor and best hospital to build up his credibility. The last and most difficult part was arrangement of a death certificate in the name of a M. Though the exact detail of how the death certificate was obtained were not known, it was established the death certificate was true only as far as the death of a person was concerned. But it was not correct as regard the identity of a M. The husband of a M, being a local doctor in Jodhpur, was the greatest risk to the fraud, right? Because he was not aware. Therefore, he was kept out of the entire plan all throughout. So he was not involved basically. Because how could he like presume his wife has died? Even the invitation to permanently reside in England was skillfully accentuated to M for taking care of D's children. So this way, under their pretext, she was called to London. so that her husband would be isolated from the devious plan. So, conclusion what happened in the finally the hypothesis that the life insurance death was expected at the commencement of the policy was wrong. Basically, it was the razors theory. The chartered accountant proved the similar hypothesis that the policy was taken with the intention to falsify the death itself. In the original hypothesis, the fact of a death was taken as certainty. Had the chartered accountant not looked at all the facets of the case, and had he not raised up the assumption which did not stand up the scrutiny, the insurance company would have been poorer by 5,25,000 pounds. So Occam's razor facilitate one to look at the facts squarely in the face of a to ascertain whether they are facts indeed. This is possible only when the influence of surrounding assumption is removed or raised, basically. This is called the theory of Occam's razor. So Occam's razor teaches us not to get carried away by the preconceived notion and hunches. Okay. It is also important to remember that the fact and only fact will usually dovetail and present a logical and simple explanation. This is what Occam's theory states. Simplify a hypothesis by raising of assumption. This is also what investigation is all about. This some additional point is certain life insurance companies routinely investigate large value claims. Since such investigation concerns a major financial disbursement, this area could be a good opportunity for the consultant, I say not chartered accountant only, to render investigation services. This article has been written with a view to provide overview of the nature of investigation services that consultant may have to offer. So this is was the how the fraud basically taken care, right? And I think this is like you can understand about this entire thing. Okay. Yes. So this is a so yes. Final opinion. Any of you? What is like you want to share? If anybody, what is your final take on this case? So how like I think some of you said that the fictitious patient, but hospital was also involved in a way because the fake bill and all these things were taken. So I think many of you judged the things very rightly, right? I think there was no denying the in this case. So most of you judge the thing rightly also. Yes. Yes. Any opinion finally or any you wanted to share? So, but of course, I think many of you gave a very right thought basically. Like Sanjita Batuji asked you who then died. Nobody died basically. So, and it was a clear, very, and this happens, I think, many times. So, to really now dupe the insurance company, false claims are being lost basically, right? In India, after Aadhaar card, it's not possible. Yes, I think you are right, Mr. Verma, because Aadhaar card is a very strict control has been there now, to issue death certificate, and it become bit difficult, like this kind of a things which happen because they verify from the Aadhaar, and yes, you are right. So, but in India, you can adopt multiple other things, not death basically, having the false claim on the on the accident or the vehicle loss, basically valuation of vehicle. So many things are there. Sometimes it happens that to process quickly, insurance company may fall into no, really. I think never. I don't agree, Farooqji. Insurance company processing in our country is very methodical. They go to the extent of asking all documentation. I don't think any insurance company run the risk of quickly process. Never. I think because I also have a great experience. Never in the insurance company in our country are very strict in that matter. So very rarely, when I of course they are taken on a ride many times, but normally it's not, right? Yes, Ashwini say hospital take advantage of the insurance if the patient found insured. Yeah, this is a normal practice. Ashwini Kumar, this is a normal practice in our country normally, and it is well known to everybody. So if you have insurance, the charge will be higher. If you not insurance, then they will charge, give you discount, etc., etc. So this is the across the board practice there in our country. All hospital adopt. So I think maybe whatever you feel like it is, and it is the knowledge of it is in the knowledge of insurance companies also, right? Because the insurance company cannot object, because then they charge normal charges to a normal patient. They give a discount, so they can't refuse it. Okay, we will not, because there is a normal charge of a not exorbitant but a normal charges, so which are into the higher side. So even insurance company cannot refute that. Harshwa, even though during the Uttarakhand tragedy, many false claims were taken in a fraudulent manner. Yes, you are right. I think this happens. That is why this mistrust is there in our society. People make a false claim, and then by that reason, many genuine claimants suffer basically. The problem is that, right? Because there is a tendency to a false claim in our country. Because of that, the many genuine claimers suffer basically. They also undergo, now sometimes they're denied or sometimes they face the this. You are right, absolutely, Harshvardhani. But I think this is a bad thing, and it should not be done, because that kind of a mistrust is there between insurance company and the claimant basically. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think I hope you enjoyed this case study. It's a very interestingly, and something out of box also. And so I hope you will be very careful in the insurance claim if any case comes to you for verification, because this really is the now like real issue which we, yes, I think good. I think I hope each one of you enjoyed, I think, this session. I think so. Case study will continue to take each one each time, I think. So I think so. Thank you very much, I think, to each one of you for your patient listening. And yes, I'll share the solution with you just now. I'm just sharing. Don't worry. Once I close the session, I'll share the solution. You can keep and in your library, and just like for the future learning. Yeah. Okay, yes, new concept, I think, Farooqji. Okay, yeah, thank you very much, I think. So please take care, I think. Good night, I think. Please have a wonderful week ahead. Take care of yourself, your health, your family's health also. And please let us meet in the next weekend
Thank
on
you,
Saturday,
sir.
Sunday. Once again, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, I think.
Thank you,
Great,
sir.
I think.
So
Thank you
Thank you,
very
sir.
much. Thank you. Yes. So I'm just logging
Thank
off.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.